today's video, we're going to take a look at how to go from this to this YouTube studio space. There's a lot to cover, so let's dive right in. All right, if you're looking to convert your garage into a proper YouTubing studio, you found the right video because that's exactly what we're doing today. Now, I'm going to make this YouTube space you see right now out of a single car stall within my garage. So if you have a 2 or 3 car garage, you can still use your garage for other things. It only requires one stall. If you have a smaller garage, this setup will work for you. As we go through this video, there'll be a lot of products that I talk about. I'll include links to everything in the video description and comments below. No obligation to use the products that I use here. I'm just sharing them as a reference point. And then at the end of the video, I'll go over all the costs for this YouTube studio setup and what I might do differently if I had to do this again in the future. So the first thing you need to do is identify the wall that you want to shoot toward. I'm not using my garage door because I want to be able to open and close that in the future. So I'm using a wall that's adjacent to my garage doors. Take any tools and things that you have hanging on the wall and remove them, and then you can start the painting process. I'm using an 18% gray, which is something that is used in a lot of studios and seems to work well with the digital cameras that I have. You'll notice that I have some electrical conduit and electrical boxes here. I obviously can't relocate those, so I'm going to be building a shelf later in this video to help hide those. The shelf will also come in handy for setting props and some other electrical work that I want to do to run my neon sign. If you're painting a wall that's never been painted before, like I was, make sure to use a couple coats of paint to get a good even finish. As I was painting the wall, I realized I hadn't shown you guys what the garage looks like before we converted it to a studio, so I figured now would be a good time to do that before we finish the build. So here's the wall that I just painted. We are in a 3-car garage, just for reference. The 3-car garage is a tandem on one side and a single car garage on the other. So it's kind of a double wide and only double long on half. Down here, in the back of the garage, I have my kind of workshop area. I have a couple workbenches, some tools, overhead shelves, all that kind of thing. So that's one workspace. And then on this side of the garage, I have kind of my gym equipment, weights, pull-up bar, bike, etc. So those are the 2 other work areas I have in my garage. And I'm just converting one of the stalls into my YouTube space. So if you have a 1-car garage or a 2-car garage, you can certainly do what I'm doing here. You just won't have some of the other workspaces that I have in my 3-car garage. So that's kind of the quick and dirty of what my space looks like before we get the YouTube studio completely built out. The next thing I'm going to do is start working on the kind of review table or tabletop for the talking head style videos that will go in front of the area that I just painted. So there you have it. The table is now built. I'm pretty happy with the table for what I paid for it. It looks nice. I think it's going to work well for the YouTube studio here. I will say it had a few shortcomings. First, this is rated for 2,000 pounds. I'm thinking this is going to be a super stout table, right? If you notice, it's got a bit of a wiggle to it. So yeah, it could probably take 2,000 pounds if it was loaded straight on, but I don't know that I'd want to drop a transmission on this and be, spinning it around and stuff like that. Now, while I was building this table, you may have noticed that this light keeps turning on and off. That's because it's on a motion sensor, which seemed like a really good idea at the time. But now that this is going to be a YouTubing studio, I'm going to have to get that fixed. So that'll be later in the video, lighting. But the table overall, I'm pretty happy with. The instructions were not the correct instructions for this table. And there was a ton of extra hardware when I was done putting this thing together. Except there wasn't anything else to bolt together, so I don't know what to tell you. I think they may have mixed up the kits or something, but I had everything I needed to put this table together, and for the price, I'm pretty happy with it. A couple things that I like about this table is it has a real wood top, making it look pretty nice for filming purposes. It has a 2,000 pound rating, which is maybe a bit of a stretch for this table, but you can easily sit on it, so I'm not really too concerned about it. One of the biggest things I really wanted were wheels. That way you can roll this table out of the way when you're done using it. And it has a drawer so I can put things away and out of sight. So when I'm filming, it keeps the work surface nice and clear. This table also has a full power strip and a couple USB-A ports for charging electronic devices that I might be reviewing or just charging camera gear when I'm done filming. Okay, and now we have a shelf. Well, at least the framework of a shelf. I wanted to show you guys, I put the shelf underneath the conduit because putting it over the conduit would make the shelf overly thick, and putting it on top of the conduit would just make it too high in my background. So here's the framework of the shelf. I'm going to go ahead and put the shelf on top. You'll see that the thickness of the top board of the shelf will hide the conduit. and then we'll get some lights installed. On the underneath side of the shelf, I have some transformers and power cables and some other lighting accessory type things hidden away. These transformers are for the new neon GearsNTool sign that's going to be in the background of most of my talking head style videos. And this is what the shelf looks like installed. As you can see, the thickness of the shelf does a pretty good job hiding the conduit behind it. Once I get a couple props on the shelf, you won't even be able to see it. On the bottom of the shelf, I stuck on this LED strip. I can change the colors and do different things with it. I don't know if it's going to look good on camera, but I figured it was worth a shot. It was only 30 bucks. And of course, here's the new neon sign. I'm super excited about this. The company that did this did a really good job. I'll put a link in the video description to who did this in case you're looking for a neon sign on your YouTube set or just your business or bar or whatever you want a neon sign for. They did an awesome job with this custom sign and I would highly recommend them. Okay, so now that the backdrop is done, we need to address the garage door. A couple things about the door. It has these windows, which is really nice for letting in natural light, but that means there's a lot of light that's not controlled and that can affect the picture quality and stuff in my videos. Especially if I'm filming different scenes between daytime and night, it just kind of presents a challenge. So I'm gonna take some curtains and use some clamps and hang it up on the top rail there so it's kind of covering up those windows. They're gonna be blackout curtains. Also, the curtains will help with the reverb because this is a hard surface. Anything covering it will help kind of cut down on the echo and reverb in the garage. So that's our next step. We're going to be putting up these blackout curtains with these handy clamps so it's easy to take up and down because, you know, when I am working out here, I do like having the natural light. We just need to control it sometimes. Next, we're going to put down this rug. I don't know how much it's going to help with the echo reverb, but I figured it couldn't hurt, and it was a relatively inexpensive purchase off Amazon. Okay, next we're going to be putting up one of these Amaran 100X lights. They're a good sized light. They offer lots of power, but they don't have a ton of colors or anything like that. The 100X is a plastic body. It's not overly complicated, but for a YouTube studio, it's perfect. I have two of these, but I was reading, I'm not a lighting expert, I'm kind of learning as I go here, guys. I was reading if you just have one primary light and then like a secondary light that's a little bit dimmer, it kind of looks moody or whatever. So we're going to give that a try. If that's not enough light, I got two of these, we can put the other one up. One of the reasons I'm setting up this YouTube studio in the first place is when I was doing this in my living room, I didn't really have enough space to set the lights up properly. And that made it hard for me to get good lighting in my videos, and just, it was kind of in the middle of everything too. So this, hopefully, will be a lot easier just to come out to the garage, turn things on, get the lights fired up, and just start filming. And when I'm done, I just leave it out here, and I'm not tearing it up and taking it down all the time like I'm doing right now. It's kind of a hassle. So the whole point of a YouTube studio is, yes, to improve the video quality, but also to save you time, and if you can make the filming process easier, you're more likely to actually film. Like you see here, I'm fiddling with this. It's not hard, it's just, you know, kind of fiddly, and the more fiddly you're doing, the less filming you're doing, and the less content you make. So that's the whole idea behind the YouTube studio, is to have a dedicated space so you can focus on actually filming and not fiddling. One of the things I really like about these Amaran 100Xs is they come with really long power cables. Not all the lights I was looking at had long power cables, and you know, where the light needs to be isn't always where the power is. So something to think about. You notice behind this light, I do have a TV on wheels. That's going to be my teleprompter when I get that figured out. But in this video, we're not going to be covering that quite yet. For the lighting setup, I have a soft dome on the Amaran 100X, and I only have one of those shining on the kind of review table, if you will. The idea is to provide a strong light on one side of my body and face, and then on the other side here, we have this 4-foot tall light tube, which is an Amaran T4C, and it's on a small little stand. And the idea is you want to get a little bit more light on one side of your subject compared to the other. And what that does is it creates depth. It kind of gives you more highlights and shadows and just kind of creates that depth and moody look that is really popular on YouTube right now. So that's the lighting setup. Again, I'll have links in the description below for everything, but I put the big light kind of up against the garage doors where I have my curtains. That way, as I come in and out of the garage, it's not in my way. You know, with the big dome softbox on there, it does take up a fair amount of space. So that's what we got going on for the lighting setup. And as you can see, it lights things up pretty well. Okay, so as promised earlier in the video, I am going to go over the cost of this YouTube Studio build. Keep in mind as I go through all the costs, these are just the products I chose to use when building this YouTube studio. There are cheaper and more expensive options in each category. So don't feel like just because I used a specific light or a certain table or whatever that's the only way you can set this up. I'm just sharing what I did to give you guys ideas of what might work for your YouTube studio setup. And again, if there's something you're interested in, I'll have links to everything in the video description below. The paint I got from Home Depot, it was $22.98. The wood I already had, but you can get it at Home Depot probably for around $45. The top of the shelf is a 1x8 inch board. The front's a 1x4 inch board, and I use simple 2x4s to build the frame. The table I got from Amazon was $215.99. Honestly, for the price, it's a pretty decent table. I wanted wheels and a drawer and a power strip. It's going to be hard to beat that price with these features, but if you spend a little bit more money, I think you can get a better table. The rug is a 6-foot by 9-foot rug. It's mainly used to dampen the sound in the echoey garage and was $61.95 from Amazon. The neon sign is a company from Neon's Fur, and it was $799. Definitely the most expensive part of this set. I'm super happy with the sign, and they were really good about going through several design iterations to make sure I got exactly what I wanted. I would highly recommend them. The LED strip that went under the shelf was a 20-foot long LED strip kit from Amazon for $39.99. I used a 20-foot one because I went the full length of the shelf and back to double up on it to give it a little bit extra illumination power. I got the blackout curtains on Amazon. I had to buy 2 sets to cover all the windows on my garage door, and they were $25.96 each. Then to hold the curtains up, I used 6-inch clamps. They were $8.09 for a set of 4, and I bought 3 sets. The Amran 100X light was $249. I already had this light. You could definitely go with a less expensive light, but since I already had this one, this is the one I'm using. I'm using an Amran light dome, which was $99 to filter the light and give that kind of soft, glowy look coming off it. The light stand holding up the Amran 100X is a 13-foot long air cushioned shock stand. It was $83.84 from Amazon. For the tube light, I'm using an Amran T4C, which is a 4-foot tube light. It costs $329. Now, Amran makes a 2-foot tube light, which I think would be fine for this application, and that light would be a T2C. So if you wanted to save a little money, you could go with that shorter T2C light. And then under the tube light, I just have a small little light stand from Amazon that costs $30. This brings the grand total to $2,083.93. Now that's a lot of money, but remember, $799 of that is just the neon sign. So if you skip the neon sign, maybe you have something else planned or you want to just go with something generic, the base setup of the studio is $1,284.93. Now I know that's a lot of money, but that's still cheaper than most high-end cameras are these days. So I think that's a pretty good value. And keep in mind, you are dedicating an entire garage stall to that, and that has opportunity cost to it as well. You can certainly do the setup cheaper, but for me, I just wanted something simple where I could come out, sit in front of the camera, hit record, and just kind of brain dump and get all my thoughts on the film for you guys and focus on making content and not fighting my setup. But I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think this is a good setup? Do you like the look? What recommendations do you have for me? Because I'm not a professional filmmaker. I'm learning as I go. And a lot of the things that I've learned have been from comments from viewers such as yourself. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And if you found this video helpful, let me know what you're doing in your YouTube setup. I'd love to hear what you're doing and maybe what I could incorporate into my setup as well. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button below. It helps the channel out a lot. And I recently did a video on building a network attached storage device to store all the footage that I plan to make in this YouTube studio. So I have it on screen right now. Give that a click. I think you'll find value in that too. Thanks for watching, and cheers.